The iceberg effect is actually a bad thing that happens to most PPC accounts, and it doesn't matter whether it's search, social, display, or video. The main premise of the iceberg effect is basically that it leaves you with less control as you are building and scaling your accounts. And again, the biggest thing that you're going to want to focus on as you build out your campaigns are going to be rooted in something that we call granularity. Now let's look at what the iceberg effect truly is. In search campaigns, when the iceberg effect is very prevalent, you basically see a large discrepancy between your search terms and your keywords. For every keyword that you're bidding on, there could be tens, if not hundreds, maybe even thousands of different search terms lurking underneath the surface. This is why it actually looks like an iceberg. Now, that's a bad thing, because the closer your ratio is of search term to ad, the closer you have what we call irrelevance. And that actually helps you with having a higher CTR, which is that metric that the actual platforms use to give you a cheaper cost per click. Now, CTR is not what your goal is. Your goal is to actually make money at the end of the day, but it's important to follow these leading indicators that can help your performance overall in your account. To give you a real life example, let's look at a traditional search campaign. So when you look at the actual search terms and you isolate a single keyword, you'll see all the different search terms that are coming from that. Now again, if you remember from previous videos, the keyword is what you actually can control, it's what you bid on. But the search term is what people are actually typing in, and it's what you're paying for. So if you want to actually minimize the iceberg effect in your account, you want to take advantage of something we call single keyword ad groups. And it basically means that you take out the search terms that you see that don't match your keyword, and you create a new single keyword ad group from it. And again, make sure you're using ad group level negative keywords to exclude the internal competition. For social, you can always look at a traditional Facebook campaign, and the thing that you're looking for here is looking at the ad sets that have a lot of layers of targeting. So you can basically have custom lookalike or saved audiences, and within those audiences you can have demographics, interests, a lot of different things as far as job titles and job descriptions, household income. All of those layers basically mean that you can't break it down and look at the performance individually at that layer. So if you go back to our focus on granularity, you'll notice that what we recommend is having ad sets that have the least amount of targeting layers in them, because that allows you to truly see how they individually perform. It doesn't mean that you can't actually later create a Venn diagram of targeting options and combos to see how that performs as well. But to begin with, you won't know what works and what doesn't if you leave it in a top-heavy layered ad set. Now for display and video, let's talk about the Google Ads display network and maybe even YouTube. The biggest thing you're looking for here is the same thing that we saw on the social side for Facebook. If you have too many targeting options that are layered together, it's hard to see how they individually perform. So if you can, take them out and create separate ad groups that have the simplest level of targeting. And then the next step you want to look at is what used to be called the Dimensions tab, but now is called Where Ads Were Shown. When you look at this, you can actually see the automatic placements from your display campaigns or the YouTube placements from your YouTube campaigns. This is a good indicator whether you are contextually relevant with what you're targeting or if you need to change things up as well. And again, the more that you clean out the bottom of the iceberg and turn your bigger iceberg into smaller ones, the stronger, the more consistent and more predictable your performance will be. Now, with all this being said, and as you've been following along on the whiteboard over here, the biggest thing that you want to keep in mind is keep things simple. And again, focus on the granularity aspect too. You might find that some audiences that you're targeting on Facebook or some levels of targeting that you're using on the display network are just too small to get any level of basically impressions or traffic. And if that's the case, sure, go ahead and increase the levels and the layers of actually the targeting that you're using. But if you can avoid it, start doing that too, because it's going to give you, again, much more consistency in your testing when it comes to your ad copy or your landing pages. Because again, the bigger your iceberg is, the stronger it's going to be and having an impact and a negative effect on the other things that you're testing when it comes to your holistic focus on PPC advertising. And that's it.